Hi, it's Wendy Hernandez with Command the Courtroom. In this week's video, I want to talk with you about the beauty of settling outside of court. Now, this isn't always possible. There are some cases where the parties are so polarized in their positions that there's just no way that they can settle outside of court, and I recognize this. I go to court 1 to 2 times a month because people just cannot come together. Now, do I think that's the best way to resolve a case? No, I don't. When you go in front of a judge to settle your case, to resolve the outstanding issues, you're going to present your case to the judge, and the judge is going to make a decision based on limited facts, the limited facts that he or she hears in a limited period of time. Now, the judge is a complete stranger to you and your children. The judge hears tons of these cases every week. Many of the judges in the county where I live are handling thousands and thousands of cases on each caseload every year. So chances are, because the judge is a stranger and they're not necessarily emotionally invested in your case, and because they're handling a lot of cases, you're probably not going to get the best result that you possibly could if you take your case to trial in front of a judge. But again, I know there are some cases where people can't settle. There are some issues that can't be settled outside of court, and you just have to go to trial. I totally understand that. But if there is any way possible to settle some of the issues, if not all of them, outside of the court, I would say try. Settlement can be a beautiful thing, and I just want to give you an example. This past Friday, I was in mediation on a divorce case where there's every issue in the book. There's child custody, there's parenting time, there's spousal maintenance, there's division of debt, division of property, there's the business, there's real estate. There are all kinds of things that are up in the air. I'm guessing that if the parties went to trial, both of them would walk away with the decision from the judge that made them less than happy. And when people settle the cases, often they have to compromise, so they're not totally happy with those results either, but it's better if you're invested in the result and you've had a role in that result. So in this particular case, everybody agrees that my client is entitled to spousal maintenance. She was a stay-at-home mom to 3 children for several years. The parties also agree that there is a significant amount of debt. And in Arizona, what the law says is that debt that was acquired during the marriage is divided equitably. And in most cases, that means equally. So my client, who has been a stay-at-home mom and probably doesn't have real great prospects in the workplace after the divorce is final, is going to walk away with $50,000 of debt. And that's what would happen if she went to trial in front of a judge, because that's what the judge has to do. And there are some judges who might give her less of the debt because of her employment situation, but I would say the majority of judges would give her $50,000 of that $100,000 worth of debt. So during the mediation, we put on our thinking caps, and so did the other side. And the other side recognized that my client was going to have a hard time paying the debt. And they also recognized that my client was entitled to a few years of spousal maintenance. So what we talked about was the husband taking on more of the debt, more like 3/4 of the debt, or $75,000 of the debt, meaning he was taking on $25,000 more than he would normally be required to do, in exchange for wife getting less spousal maintenance over the course of a couple of years. And that was a really attractive proposal to my client, because she doesn't know how she's going to pay $50,000 of debt after the divorce is final. She can't make that much money. She makes minimum wage. She has some kids who are in school. One of them is 4 years old. He's getting ready to start kindergarten. She needs a job that's flexible. So she's probably not going to be able to get a real high-paying job. But to add to it and to sweeten the deal a little bit, what my client and I did is we proposed that instead of the husband paying spousal maintenance to my client for over a couple of years at, say, $1,000 a month, that maybe he'd give her a lump sum up front, like $20,000 up front instead of $24,000 over the course of a couple years. And that would further enable my client to reduce her debt load. So going into life as a divorced woman, her finances would be something that she could manage. So the jury's still out on that. That's the last thing that we talked about before the clock struck 5 last Friday. But the husband seemed really interested in a proposal where he'd pay her a lump sum for a smaller amount and he would take on more of the debt. And that is a creative result that we would not have gotten if the judge heard this case at trial. So settlement can be a beautiful thing. Get creative. Get creative even if you have children and you think that the parenting plans that most people do, week on, or every other weekend, don't work for your children. Get creative. Do some research on the internet and make a proposal that works best for your children. The sky is the limit when you are settling outside of court with the other side. So it's something to think about. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Like Command the Courtroom on Facebook and go to commandthecourtroom.com for that best interest checklist and for more goodies coming soon. Until next week, remember to keep on trucking and command the courtroom.